Aloha! This is Daniel Levy. I'm here with
Dapper D.
and we're here on the Big Island on this beautiful Monday afternoon. This is the show. Let's do it. First episode.
Brand new show.
Brand new show. I got Dapper D here. He just got back to the island. And this was his idea. He's like, hey, bro, you should make a podcast. And I'm like, all right, let's do it right now. Ask me some questions. So what do you got for me to hear, Dapper D?
Well, I know that you're always thinking of expansively about the way humans connect and trade and use commerce. So I'd like to hear you enlighten me and others on how you are involved in creating a unique sort of currency here in Eastern Hawaii and perhaps beyond.
Sure. So I've been involved with many alternative currencies for about 10 years. For the last 8 years or so, I've been following the Ripple community, which is a new form of mutual credit system. So mutual credit is a method of creating community currencies that people use all around the world. It's very successful. People have been doing it for quite a while. Basically, it's an agreement to encourage collaboration. Anybody in your group can issue credit backed by them, and everybody else has an obligation to accept that, and the person has the obligation to fulfill that credit and can do it with anyone else in the group. We're working on villages.cc, which is a platform using the Ripple technology to create a decentralized mutual credit system. So that's just slightly different. Instead of relying on a central issuer of trust, a community organization, instead every individual is able to fulfill those roles, issuing trust to their peers. So instead of having an organization determine who's trustworthy, it's done completely by peers in the network, by your community. Instead of having a bank, being the issuer of money and determine how much credit is able to be created on your behalf, it's done by your community, and it's not done for profit. Instead, it's backed by human values, real things that us humans value.
So are other people involved in this, and how many people are starting to use this system?
So, like I said, mutual credit systems are something that are going on all around the world and are a very active movement. The platform that we are developing, Villages, has been around for a while. It got a little side rail, but we're pushing it forward once again. Right now in our community, there's about 100 people around the world. I think there's around 1,000. I know I have something like 500 people in my personal trust network. And
Cool.
These are people all over the world. 100 of those here in my community, where I live.
Cool. So why is this important to this world that it's pretty much run by the dollar and maybe a few more known internet currencies like Bitcoin, etc. And why is this important that we create alternative currencies?
So there's many different models for money. I see this as a model that works for the individual. It's backed by the people. It's not rare. It's not scarce. It doesn't have to be imported or dug out of the ground. It's credit. Credit is the oldest form of money. Credit was the first form of money. And, whether people are using government fiat currencies or Bitcoin or gold or silver or whatever it is in the future, which they probably will be, people will still be using credit no matter what. Whether it's a simple IOU, I'll get you back later kind of vibe, or just the just the assumption that your neighbors or your buddy is good for it and gonna get you back when the time is right. And this is kind of just an extension of that friendly agreement that lets you extend that kind of friendly agreement into greater aspects of your life, so you can buy groceries and gas or things online on Amazon or whatever it might be. I really see it as an awesome, empowering tool. Money is no longer something that is necessarily scarce, and people that previously claimed that they couldn't afford to do certain tasks, if they're a willing, able-bodied human, I mean that then they can afford it. They do have resources available. It's just that simple. There's other things we're really excited about too. When you have an abundant currency, people tend to spend it a lot differently, and tend to spend it on things they care about a lot more. One thing we're excited about with our platform, a feature in the upcoming new version, is an optional tax feature, and that's basically lets anybody add a optional transaction tax. So every transaction you make, you can donate, say, 1% to a charity of your choice, or maybe to the Puna Community Currency Group or Villages Development Team is one that I would encourage you to donate to. And people can create other visions and projects that and can crowd fund their projects using this kind of taxation method. Real excited about that.
So this operates completely separate from the dollar, and if the dollar was to collapse, would there be no effect as to wipe this out as well?
That's right. Yeah, this is not tied to the dollar. This is backed by human resources. So our unit of measurement on villages is a village hour. A village hour correlates to a sustainable hour's wage in our community. Of course, that's different in every community you're in around the world. In our community, there's a general consensus that right now, sustainable hour's wage is equivalent to about $15, which is pretty good, maybe on the abundant side too, which is a great thing to hold space for more abundance. So in our community, there's a general agreement that that's what our units are worth. And I imagine that those will change that rate will change in the future as the dollar naturally inflates.
So, being a prepper-minded individual like myself, how are you going to sell this to someone who doesn't want to do all their currency online or with an electronic device and want something handheld, or at least some sort of object that can be used sort of like cash, something that is not digital? In case the grid was to shut down, then in that case, perhaps we wouldn't have electronics anyways. So how can this cross over in that sort of situation,
Well, I'll
if
say,
possible?
sure. So first, I will say if the grids shut down, there'll be, a whole lot more we got to think about. Of
Sure.
course, internet and whatnot. The idea of mutual credit goes beyond internet, and once you start using this network, you realize that ultimately it's just a community agreement to stay in balance with one another. That mutual credit system is really just an agreement amongst the community that encourages collaboration and encourages people to stay in alignment with one another. So if a community, found themselves in a position where they didn't have internet, if they know how to do mutual credit, as our group here is teaching people, it's pretty straightforward to figure it out without the internet. You'd probably end up relying on a central third party to keep track of the ledgers, is what you would end up doing.
So what would be the consequences of debt or in this system? What if someone gets out of balance with another person? Or is this something that needs to be reported to a certain policing kind of system, or is this something that needs to be worked out from individual to individual in a direct sort of
So,
confrontation?
so this is a debt-based money. So, and debts can create controversy among people. They've been known to. On our network, we encourage people not to give their peers a credit limit that's higher than that which might affect their relationship. So, and just like in your, in your modern life, you generally don't want to give someone a loan for more than, again, what might affect your relationship if they don't pay it back. But with this too, there's checks and balances, so you know who's paying back their loans. You
So you
know
could go
who's.
to court. Could you go to a real lawful court over through this money system if someone was to?
Well, I would say that this is a friendly agreement if you were to make contracts with, say, U.S. dollar. This is all human resource backed. If you were to do U.S. dollar backed mutual credit, I could see people potentially taking that to court or using those types of mediums to help settle. These are human resource. I mean, if somebody's out of integrity, you just got to call them out on it
Yeah.
and get them to come over and help you with your projects. Be like, bro, come on, get over here, help out for a couple hours, or like,
There you go.
yeah. And the consequence is basically that you don't have access to money. If you're not,
Yeah.
if you're bailing on your integrity, then you don't have as much access, and you can't issue your own credit, which is too bad. But you can still accept other people's credit and still use that too.
All right, far out, Daniel. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Dabber D, for asking me those questions. I'll keep I'll keep these podcasts coming.
Daniel Levity, East Hawaii, out.
Puna coming at you from the end of the world in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Aloha, mahalo.